Hello, this is Heide. Be sure to pause the next slide to refresh your memory on how to navigate this webinar. Remember, you can also go on the English Forward website and download the entire PowerPoint deck in case you want to see the slides in print. Hi there, and welcome to Module 2, Speak so your students can understand. As you know, it's not easy communicating with someone who doesn't speak English well. And the students you work with may also have trouble understanding you. But there are some strategies that you can use to make things easier, both for yourself and for your students. For example, using visuals to support what you say, slowing down as you speak, and using appropriate phrasing all can help facilitate communication with students who are new to English. Giving students signal cards so they can tell you non-verbally that they don't understand really helps communication. As you probably know, trying to understand a new language can be frustrating. To give you some sense of what it's like to have a new language coming at you, let's try a little experiment. I'll give you a story in German, a language I hope you don't understand, but if you do, you get to feel nice and smug. I've included words and phrases that are similar to English, so you should be able to understand some things. Are you nervous yet? But before we immerse you in this language learning experience, let's look at what it takes to speak so students understand. We will then give you plenty of ideas and tips on how to teach beginning level ESL students. And we'll hope you'll have fun in the process. Here's a quick overview of what you can expect to see in Module 2. We have some exciting ideas for you to try out so your students can understand what you're saying when you teach those English Forward lessons. Comprehensible input is simply another way of saying speak so your students understand. Of course, what's comprehensible to a more advanced student may not be comprehensible to a beginner. So it helps to know how much schooling your student has had, get a sense of her overall English proficiency, and the topics she finds interesting. Check out Module 5, Knowing What Students Know, for ideas. Here we show you what we mean by comprehensible input and how to achieve it. Go ahead and pause the slide if you need more time. So let's put you in the situation of a student learning a new language. I'll use two different ways of presenting ideas in German. In the first part, I simply talk. In the second part, you hear the same story, but I'm also using pictures and reinforcing what I say with a few printed words. Which method will make input more comprehensible, do you think? Of course you know the answer. But let's see what learning German in two different ways actually feels like. Are you ready? Guten Tag, ich heiße Heide. Im Sommer 2014 war ich in Ruanda in Afrika. Ich war an der Duha-Schule. 3000 Kinder gehen auf die Duha-Schule. Alle lernen Englisch. Ruanda ist ein kleines Land in der Mitte von Afrika. Die Hauptstadt ist Kigali und die Nationalsprachen sind Englisch, Kinyarwanda, Swahili und Französisch. Im Akagera Nationalpark von Ruanda gibt es viele wilde Zebras und auch Giraffen. Die Zebras sind weiß und haben schwarze Streifen. Die Kinder in Ruanda lieben Fußball und auch Elektronik, besonders das iPhone. Die Kinder sagen, alles ist prima, alles ist okay. So how much did you catch? Not all that much, I bet. Look at the questions on the slide and share your thoughts with others. So let's try this experiment one more time. Only this time I will slow down, use pictures, and show you what German looks like in print. Remember, if you want to understand a new language, you must think while you listen. Use context as a clue and activate your background knowledge. I know it's hard not to get lost in the language, but as we tell our students, do the best you can. Guten Tag, das bin ich, Heide, in Afrika. Das ist die Duha-Komplexschule. Ich war an der Duha-Schule in 2014. Das sind die Kinder von der Duha-Schule. 3000 Kinder gehen auf diese Schule. Und das ist ein Haus in Ruanda, in der Nähe der Duha-Schule. Ruanda ist ein kleines Land in der Mitte von Afrika. Uganda ist im Norden und die Demokratische Republik vom Kongo ist im Westen von Ruanda. Siehst du Somalia und Äthiopien? Die Hauptstadt von Ruanda ist Kigali. Die Nationalsprachen sind Kinyarwanda, Englisch, Swahili und Französisch. Das bin ich in der Mitte mit 5 Kindern. Die Kinder gehen mit mir zu der Duha-Schule. Das bin ich wieder in der Mitte. Rechts ist ein Mann, Professor Antoine, und links ist ein Schüler, Paulin. Viele Leute in Ruanda haben französische Namen. In Akagera, dem Nationalpark von Ruanda, gibt es viele wilde Zebras. Die Zebras sind weiß und haben schwarze Streifen. Im Nationalpark kannst du auch Giraffen sehen. Die Giraffen haben lange Hälse. Das ist eine Mama-Giraffe und ein Baby. Die Kinder in ganz Afrika lieben Fußball. Die Kinder an der Duha-Schule auch. Und die Kinder lieben Elektronik. Sie sind von meinem iPhone fasziniert. Alle Kinder lernen Englisch. Sie lieben Amerika. Alles prima, sagt der junge Mann. Alles ist okay. After listening to the story and seeing the pictures, what insights into your own learning did you gain? I hope you get a chance to consider these questions and share your thoughts. You may have noticed during our lesson that your brain was not able to stay entirely in German. Sometimes you understand a sentence, sometimes you try a quick translation in your mind, and sometimes the meaning is just not accessible to you, at least not on the first round. So you may want to listen to the same story again so you can give your brain a chance to catch up. You will now see the text of the story one more time, because the language learning brain likes review and repetition. Pause the slide to see if you can recreate the German pronunciation in your mind. Then click play to read along. I'll give you a few seconds to stop the video. Guten Tag, ich heiße Heide. Im Sommer 2014 war ich in Ruanda in Afrika. Ich war an der Duha-Schule. 3000 Kinder gehen auf die Duha-Schule. Alle lernen Englisch. Ruanda ist ein kleines Land in der Mitte von Afrika. Die Hauptstadt ist Kigali und die Nationalsprachen sind Englisch, Kinyarwanda, Swahili und Französisch. In Akagera, dem Nationalpark von Ruanda, gibt es viele wilde Tiere, Zebras und auch Giraffen. Die Zebras sind weiß und haben schwarze Streifen. Die Kinder in Ruanda lieben Fußball und sie lieben auch Elektronik, besonders das iPhone. Die Kinder sagen, alles ist prima, alles ist okay. Here are some insights from the learning sciences, the field that looks at cognitive and linguistic processing. Do these match your experience learning German just now? Please pause the slide to read the findings. Here is a quick animated video that illustrates how the brain learns language. Watch the video, but keep in mind that this is an ad for a product. Of course, we don't endorse any particular language learning program. We include the video here because it is fun to watch and does a good job explaining that the human brain is designed to take in oral language.
Did you ever study a second language in high school or college? And you practiced grammar drills and studied sentence syntax? You memorized conjugations for endless lists of verbs? I talk, you talk, she talks, we talk. How fun was that? After all that effort, most students still struggle to speak comfortably with natives and don't have perfect pronunciation. I'm going to share with you the biggest insight into language learning that was discovered almost 50 years ago by Dr. Paul Pimsleur, someone you could call the Einstein of learning language. Before written history, we had an oral history. Most people, even kings and queens, couldn't write or read in ancient times. Even today, still 25% of the world's population of 7 billion can't read, which is about 2 billion people. And these adults can function and interact normally with each other. But when you look at the industrialized nations, which have a 97% literacy rate, one of the biggest challenges to learning another language is the fact that adults are able to read and write, at least initially. Let me explain what I mean. Before we learned to read and write, we learned to speak. And Dr. Pimsleur discovered how adults can learn a language dramatically faster than children through a unique audio method that literally fools your brain into learning. His whole approach to language learning can be summed up by the statement, when you know what sounds right, everything else is easy. You first learn to speak by interacting with your parents. And your brain is designed to learn a language through conversation. Here's proof. If I tell you, I bread needs, you instantly know that my grammar is off and I should be saying, I need bread. You don't need to think analytically about verb conjugation, sentence syntax, and so forth. That's all boring and unnecessary stuff. To put it another way, if you can't speak another language and you've tried to learn before, you're probably doing something wrong. It's why you're nervous speaking with others. You have difficulty remembering vocabulary. You have a thick accent, perhaps. You spent hours on end trying to memorize flashcards, and when you ask a native a question, you can't understand anything that's being said back to you. That's no way to learn.
Next, let's look at a number of strategies you can use to help your student get to English and understand what you say. You can use simple sentences and adjust your pacing. Illustrate ideas with drawings and ask your student to do the same. Comprehension really increases if you use pictures and take advantage of YouTube videos and songs that tell a story. Examples are coming up, so pause the upcoming slides so you don't miss any details. Getting your pace and your phrasing right takes practice. Here are a few tips. The brain works best when multiple channels are activated. Drawing is a great way to connect different parts of the brain, so are photographs and music. This rap song is a wonderful example of how multimedia makes grammar and vocabulary come alive.
Mr. Melody.
Planes fly, the wind blows, babies cry, the moon glows, the sun shines, plants grow. You ask me why, don't you know? A bell rings, bands play, a bird sings, people pray.
Ladies and gentlemen, it gives me great pleasure to introduce to you Mr. A.M.P.
The present's simple. It's not hard. I am, he, she, it is, you are. You don't have to be a star. Give yourself a break. We learn each day from the mistakes we make. Relax, repeat. Don't be tense. The present simple will start to make sense. How do we use it? The most common way is to talk about the things that we do every day. I sleep, she thinks. You eat, he cleans. These are our habits, our daily routines. I go there often. She works every night. We meet on Tuesdays. They're sometimes right. We use it when something is always true. Like geese fly south and cows go moo. For general action, Sue drives a car and paints pictures and Jack plays guitar. A knife cuts, wheels turn, a door shuts, fires burn, balls bounce, a dog barks, cats bounce, a car parks, pens write, a pie bakes, teeth bite, a glass breaks.
It's fluency, MC. You need to know the contractions with the verb to be. It's I'm, you're, we're, they're, he's, and she's. Don't worry, it's a breeze. Follow these 3 R's. Even negative structures aren't hard. I'm not a bad guy. She's not in school. He isn't kind. Now that's not cool. They aren't rich. We're not at home. Is it time to make questions?
Indeed, let's go.
Am I loud enough? Is it easy to hear? Are you into this tune? Are the examples clear? Yo, LT Funk, are we strong?
We're strong, so keep on.
I hope everybody follows along to this song.
Mountains form, a hose sprays, the earth warms, hair grays, food spoils, a cut bleeds, water boils, a plant succeeds, a horn beats, eyes blink, a broom sweeps, ships sink, bubbles pop, a barrel rolls, buses stop, a couple strolls,
sticks,
Storms hit,
a pin pricks,
clothes fit,
ovens cook,
a bomb explodes,
eyes look,
a truck unloads, snakes hiss,
a floor creaks,
shots miss,
a roof leaks,
a lemon squirts,
planets revolve,
the truth hurts,
ideas evolve, a flower blooms,
windows close,
a rocket zooms,
models pose,
a frog jumps,
boxes stack,
an elbow bumps,
armies attack, paper rips,
trees shade,
a cup chips,
memories fade,
computers crash,
paint peels,
colors clash,
a wound heals.
Planes fly, the wind blows. You ask me why, don't you know?
Storyboarding is ideal for capturing a process. The technique can be used to draw instructions on tasks such as making paper flowers, catching a fish, changing a tire, or making tortillas from scratch, like you see here, captured by a digital camera. Next, you will see a video clip of Rosa, a teacher in Socorro, Texas, using Chalk Talk. She tells the story of how her parents came from Mexico to the United States and draws pictures as she talks. Enjoy watching her.
Okay, I'm going to tell you a story and I'm going to draw the pictures at the same time. Okay, the story is about my family. It's about my parents and how they came to the U.S. Okay, my mother was born in Monterrey, Mexico in 1946. In 1950, she came to El Paso. My mother and her parents came to the U.S. My mother went to Bowie High School and graduated from Bowie High School. When she graduated from high school, she went to work at a factory where she met my father, and they fell in love. And they got married right away. Okay, right away they got married. And they moved to California, where I was born. Let's retell the story, okay? You tell me here. My mother was born in Monterrey, Mexico. How about here? To United States, to El Paso. She graduated in United States. They fell in love, they moved to California. You have the story in front of you, so now you're going to tell me the story, okay? In third person, you're going to tell me the story, and I'm going to write a story. So, Irma, what was the title of the story? You're going to give the story a name, okay? To the story, What do you think it should be? The name of the story. Oh, my family. My big family? Okay, good. Alrighty, so let's go ahead and start writing the story. What's in this first picture here?
Rosa's mom, She born in Monterrey, Mexico,
Okay.
in 1946.
Okay. Rosa's mom, 1946. Okay, next. 50. Okay, so after she came to El Paso,
She
okay, and then over here, in the last picture.
she graduated from Bowie High School.
Right.
Bowie High School in 1968.
High school. What happened here?
Married?
She got married. She got married. She was young, She was young, and after they got married, they moved. They traveled by car to California, okay, to look for work. Irma, where was your mother born?
My mother born 2 weeks ago.
Oh, in Zacatecas. And how about your father? Where was he born? Also the same? Also in Zacatecas? Also in Zacatecas? You gotta listen to what everybody else is saying, okay? So, Magda, how old were your parents when they got married? Okay. Sulema, how old was her mother? Her mother when she got married. Magda's mother?
16 and 20.
And her father was 20. Okay. Laura, do you remember how old your parents were when they got married?
My mom 16.
And your father? Okay. Adriana, how old was Laura's mother when she got married? And her father? She doesn't remember. She doesn't remember.
You don't have to be an artist to draw storyboards or use chalk talk. Anyone can learn to do it. And in a pinch, you can just use stick figures. What are your thoughts on these techniques? Pause the next slide and consider the questions. Here's another example of a storyboard, this one on staying healthy and staying alive. It's from the book Chalk Talks. The reference is at the end of the module. Learning another language is hard work, and the brain gets tired and needs a break, especially if you're learning a new language. So give your student a chance to relax in between more intense activities. Why not introduce interesting pieces of art for a change? Simply ask your student, which painting do you like? And then say, tell me what you see. All based on a number of iconic paintings that you bring in to share. Be sure to share what you like and why. You can also play a couple of songs with catchy tunes and interesting lyrics. Yesterday is a perennial favorite. Remember also that not all learning needs to be intentional. Language acquisition is often incidental and happens as we relax and simply enjoy what we see and hear. But don't worry, the brain stays active in the background. And don't forget the power of silence. So here is our last teaching strategy for this module. Using graphic organizers. They are a great tool to show the relationship between ideas, and they really support critical thinking. Graphic organizers allow you to separate components of an idea so the logic of the connection becomes visible. What kind of graphic organizers are most helpful, and when should you use one? You can draw a semantic map to help your students generate words that are related to a central concept, like immigration, for example. Or you can create a simple T-chart to compare and contrast cultural concepts or practices. So here are two examples of graphic organizers. Would these work for you? Next, please pause the next slide and consider all the ideas we discussed in this unit. We'd love to hear your thoughts. Any strategies that you're dying to try out? Here's a quick review of how you can communicate in your tutoring session so your student understands. Next, we will show you a couple of our favorite resources. You may have some of your own that you can share with your friends and colleagues. We hope you enjoy some of these videos and books, and we'll see you next time.